So for the person that's watching and you're saying, well, I'm not sure, if I was my past clients, if I want sellers, if I want listings, I would just say before we transition to what do you do during the actual event and then what do you do after the event, because it's a 3-part formula. The one thing I'd remind you of is whoever you want, that's who you want to go after and market. So in the case of Maureen Fallon, she basically geo farms all of Queens, New York.
Right.
So whatever that number is, some 15,000 homes, she sends out a direct mail piece with a QR code invitation, right? J.D. Alessandro, right? Has been doing the same thing. Huge Northern Virginian market. He and his partner, they basically do a direct mail piece of the entire area, which they do every single month as a part of their overall branding and attraction strategy. And then they just say, hey, we're doing a free seller seminar at this time. Hit the QR code to register.
Yeah.
So do you think, for the person listening, I just want to make sure they can hit that also if they want sellers or buyers?
Absolutely. My next, we're testing it with recruiting because that's one of my rocks for this quarter.
Yep.
What I want to do is sellers, we have a listing boot camp that I'll tell you about some other time that we're starting our agents on. And that goal is to then parlay that into some of these for listings, sellers.
Smart. I'm not sure if this is for you, but if you're looking for a way to grow your business in a unique way, in an educational way, in a servant hearts way, I think you're really going to dig this show. Today, I've got my friend Mary Bartos, who, like so many of my clients during the pandemic, we were on, things like Zoom very early, 2016, 17. And at that time, when so many people were at home looking for an outlet and clients, agents like yourself, were looking for ways to scale their trust, stay top of mind with clients, I said, why don't you start doing educational events? Why don't you find out what are the topics that matter most to your customers, the people that are in your database and others, and let's start bringing that information to light. Let's become the agent of choice in your marketplace because you were the one delivering the real value, the topical content that was on the minds of customers, whether it was how to buy a house during the pandemic, how to sell a house during the pandemic, how to rent a house during the pandemic, and a million other things. Well, Mary, you and I both know a lot of people after the pandemic raced right back to what we would call traditional real estate, not being a bad thing, but they stopped doing this. You recently started doing it again.
Did. Yeah.
So tell me, first of all, for the person that doesn't know who you are, because it's like your second or third time on the show. So Mary Bartos, tell them where you work, give them the size of your team, and then let's get into the meat, because she's going to talk how to do it pre, at, and post so you can make this formula right for you.
Absolutely. Mary Bartos with the Bartos Group of Premier Plus. We go all the way from Marco Island, Naples, and Fort Myers, Cape Coral, Florida, if you weren't sure where that was.
Yep.
We have a rather large team. We have 25 agents. We're a total of about 40 or so, and love what we do.
Yeah. So why did you decide to bring back this sort of contribution-based event marketing done, sort of on Zoom? Why did you do this versus anything else?
Yeah. So, if you, in our case, what we're really looking forward to right now is recruiting, adding people to our team.
Yes.
We feel that we have a large database so people can actually work in it. And there's just too much for our current team to do.
Yes.
So instead of renting a room, getting somebody to come, kind of like an event where you have all the time, which is expensive and a lot of work to get there, we decided we'd go back to webinars and come from that heart of contribution for both local agents who are looking to join a team or actually just kind of give them a leg up if they're a single agent or wanting to start a team.
Yes.
And then go from there to also referral agents, our referral partners that are in different parts of the country, because quite honestly, they might need those thoughts as well. So the first one we did was really successful.
Okay, so before we jump into the details, I for the listener that might be saying, "Well, I don't want to recruit anybody."
Right?
Do you want to recruit sellers? Do you want to recruit buyers? Do you want to recruit investors? Do you want to recruit advocates? Do you want to recruit people that will run out and scream from the hilltops? Mary Bartos is the only agent you should work with. This strategy is time tested. It has been around for hundreds of years, right? Like this is not a new strategy. We're just modernizing it. And in this case, it's about referrals. But I want you to think through our agent attraction, right? Trying to get more people on your team. I want you to listen to the before, during, and after, because you can pretty much fill in anybody you want. Seniors that are thinking about selling their house but are concerned about all these issues. That would be a good way to do events. And we see others, Maureen Fallon, specifically the Queen of Queens in New York, who's been doing 2 of those workshops in person with small groups and listing up a truckload of people from it. She's actually going to present that at the summit this year.
It's going to be bananas.
It is going to be bananas. But it's the same thing. It's going to be bananas. So Mary, walk us through like I know you got notes. So you're going to take the show and you're going to go, this is what I do pre, and I'll try not to interrupt.
Sure. Feel free to interrupt though.
Go.
So you've got to really determine who you're presenting to.
Yes.
So you want that list.
Yes.
In our case, we're looking at referral partners in markets where they move to our area.
Smart.
And agents that we would want to add to our team. So they do a certain volume in business that we think we can add.
Yes.
To their business. So that first things first. So you gather that list. You want to get it
How do you gather that list?
Well, the referral partners, we may or may not know, but we do a lot of parties. We, integrate with a lot of people in the ecosystem to really have those referrals or people that we've done business with. So we have those in our database, so always adding to it.
Someone that they're not a part of our ecosystem, right? And obviously you should be, but if they're not, they could say, well, I belong to this company or this company has this affiliation.
Absolutely.
Let me invite. I did this a long time ago with one of my clients, Patrick McLaughlin. Shout out to Patrick. I'm like, Patrick, you're in the Hamptons. Where do all your buyers and sellers come from? He's like, New York City. I'm like, well, how often do you do educational event marketing in the city, educating people on the Hamptons? He's like, let's do that, coach. And he killed it. Right. And all he did is went to his company. He just, so think outside the box. That's one. The other one is you could go on Facebook and look and see who you have there.
Right. Facebook. I think the other thing is you could go into areas where they're moving from like that.
Right.
But you can also go out and Google them there and you can get it all on Zillow.
Right. LinkedIn.
Exactly.
Show me every real estate agent in New Jersey.
Yes.
Right. There's the entire list. Send them all a message. Hey, we'd love to invite you to come check this out.
Absolutely.
So one is build the list. 2, though, I thought you said was kind of build, like, what's the topic? What's going to be appealing to them?
Kind of, I do them at the same time. So who am I going to do it for?
Yeah.
And then what am I going to say? And is it going to be catchy enough? So the first one was success and sanity, how to do $20 million in revenue or in volume without losing your mind.
Success and sanity, how to do $20 million in volume without losing your mind. I love that title. Yes. Okay.
Feel free to take it, R&D it.
Yep.
So, you want something catchy. You want a graphic so that when you start your email campaign, when you start your social, that you have something that they can click on. And then we like to know who's signing up. So we use Eventbrite and that, puts them out. They get the link to the webinar and which we do through Zoom, which is what we used to do.
Yep.
And then you're going to send reminders. So you're going to send that email out 2-3 times, depending on how soon. Like our new one's coming up on June 14th. I like to do them so Eastern Standard Time and Pacific can kind of get them together around 10 in the morning.
Yep.
And then we start, sending those out 2-3 weeks in advance.
So I'm curious, have you done any partnership marketing, like, maybe your title partner or your lender who might also want to bring some people to this and have other relationships? Have you looked at that or no?
I have not yet because I don't know that they have those lists because I have a list of the agents in my market that I want to go after.
Got it.
And they might have other people.
Sure.
I can see their volume.
Sure.
Big brother watching, I guess.
Yeah.
So I go after those. But to your point, one of my lenders and I were talking about, the 503K where you can go in and do updates to a home and you get the mortgage. And we thought we would have it in person, but it's the exact same thing. I'm like, why go to the person?
Right.
It's great. I love face-to-face, belly-to-belly.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, I get more reach for less time, less investment on a webinar.
I love it. So who are you doing it for, right? Building the list. And being resourceful,
right.
Facebook, LinkedIn, your MLS, right? Depending upon what is your own database, right?
Yes.
And then creating sort of a catchy hook, right?
Yeah.
A reason to listen, a reason to show up. Probably use things like ChatGPT and others to say, play around with this, make it as sexy as possible, right?
Your favorite, I do.
Right, yes. And then email and then social. And you're saying 3 emails, promoting it on social, link to Eventbrite so you know who's registering.
Right.
And then the day before, do they get anything?
They get
the
a
morning
reminder.
Of? Okay.
They get a reminder.
Eventbrite do that, or do you do that?
That's a good question. I'm going to have to ask somebody else.
Okay. So you can find that out, the person listening or watching. All right. So I like that sequence.
Yeah.
Typically when you're doing this, everyone loves, they love when the party is a success.
Yes.
And everyone that throws a party is always doing this like right before. No one's going to show up. And a lot of people won't even do it because they say no one's going to show up. So what are you finding to be, I email this many people, I invite this many people, X numbers show up. What number is satisfactory to you once you're actually doing the event? How many people do you want on there?
Well, this first one, we had 90 sign up and 60 showed up, and I was thrilled. I had no expectation. I didn't want to go in with an expectation.
Smart.
I just wanted to do it, see what would happen, and then, see what the results were. And they were phenomenal. I mean, it was so cool. We have a large brokerage. I'm not the broker for anyone. Yes. I'm the largest team there. But the broker, some of the people, some of the agents in the brokerage decided to go and host like a showing session in the brokerage.
I love it.
And like 10 or 15 of them were in there watching me on the big screen and talking amongst themselves, which what a compliment. That was the coolest thing ever.
I agree.
Imagine if you could sit down over the course of 3 days with 82 different agents and team leaders who combined sold more than 6,000 homes in the last 12 months, where they broke down in detail how they generate a steady flow of listings in this market. Everything from the marketing they use, the checklist to get it done and organized and be consistent, the scripts and dialogues, the follow-up strategies, the tools, and more to implement it. That is my promise of this year's Success Summit. In this environment, you can no longer be asking yourself how. Instead, you've got to find plays that work and simply run them. Race to TomFerry.com, book your reservation, make sure that you absolutely position yourself above and beyond in your marketplace, truly becoming the market of one.
Now, remind me, in this case, you brought in a guest expert.
Not on this one. This one, the first one I did was I spoke on it.
Okay.
Only because as a value.
I saw the marketing must be on the second one.
Yeah, yes, the marketing is on. Yes, Karen
yes.
Peters is on the second one. On the first one, I thought I'm going to try this myself. If it fails, I don't want some other guest to get caught in my failure. I'm going to see if it works. I'm going to roll it out. And for me, talking to people about 20 million is an easy number because I have lots of agents on our team that do 20 million.
Right.
And I've personally done 80 million. So it's an easy discussion to have.
Okay. So I love it. So you made yourself the expert on the first, and now you're testing on the next one, bringing in an outsider.
Right.
And I thought it was unique in that you were bringing in somebody that was from one of the marketplaces where you get a tremendous amount of referral traffic, right? People from moving the Northeast to Southern New Jersey, AKA Florida. So
the new Garden State.
Right? The new Garden State with a little more water. So I thought that was a strategic move. Was it?
Yes,
or is Karen just a buddy and she's lively? Smart as all get up.
She's smart.
Yeah.
Shout out to Karen.
Yeah.
She's smart. She's lively. But I wanted it to be, and we were talking to Mastermind that she lost a recruit because they didn't think she had training.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Karen, you're the perfect storm. Let's do this because we can help each other on, her talking to folks. It helps people in my market, whether they join me or not, to know there's somebody in that New Jersey market, right where she is, that they could give a referral to, because we love to give as much as we get.
So for the person that's watching and you're saying, well, I'm not sure, if I was my past clients, if I want sellers, if I want listings, I would just say, before we transition to what do you do during the actual event, and then what do you do after the event, because it's a 3-part formula. The one thing I'd remind you of is whoever you want, that's who you want to go after and market. So in the case of Maureen Fallon, she basically geo farms all of Queens, New York.
Right.
So whatever that number is, some 15,000 homes, she sends out a direct mail piece with a QR code invitation, right? Jade D'Alessandro, right? Has been doing the same thing. Huge Northern Virginian market. He and his partner, they basically do a direct mail piece of the entire area, which they do every single month as a part of their overall branding and attraction strategy. And then they just say, hey, we're doing a free seller seminar at this time. Hit the QR code to register.
Yeah.
So do you think, for the person listening, I just want to make sure they can hit that also if they want sellers or buyers?
Absolutely. My next, we're testing it with recruiting because that's one of my rocks for this quarter.
Yep.
What I want to do is sellers. We have listing boot camp that I'll tell you about some other time that we're starting our agents on. And that goal is to then parlay that into some of these for listings, sellers.
Smart. Okay, so let's go to the during. What do you think are the most important things during the event? And I would imagine like the welcome, the intro, the content, if there's a CTA, if there's a call to action. So walk us through your list.
Yeah, so during kind of still gets from the pre. So I like to use PowerPoints. I think they're visual. It gives points to not ramble beyond. And what I really like to do with these is talk about, because what am I doing? I'm looking for people that want to recruit or I want to give knowledge to wherever they are. So we talk about if you're a single agent, what should you do? If you're trying to, grow a team or start a team, how does this topic relate to you?
Right.
And then here's what my team does. So as a large team, and I give it back from level of contribution. It's really my responsibility as a successful team in this market of real estate to give back to folks.
Yes.
And so that's the rate, I guess, at which it goes through in the presentation. So
just to be clear, you're just fulfilling on the promise, which is how do you move from, what did you call it? Like, $20 million and crazy to like a higher level of success and maybe more sanity. I totally butchered your headline. So you're speaking to that, but you're doing it specifically in the avatar of, hey, if you're a brand new agent, hey, if you're a new agent and you're at $8 or $9 million, here's the next move for you. Hey, if you're an experienced agent, here's the next 3 moves for you. So I like that because the person listening is going to say, all right, well, if I'm talking to sellers,
right.
If you're talking to buyers, hey, if you're a first-time buyer, here are the 3 moves. Right. If you're a move-up buyer, you need to look at ABC 1, 2, 3. But if you're that maybe savvy investor, you're going to look at ABC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So you're giving every one of the avatars what they need.
Absolutely.
And purely from give.
Right.
All right.
And if I never get a referral or a recruit out of it, that's okay too.
Yeah.
It really, I'm not looking at the outcome. The outcome is great.
Yes.
But
you produce results with it. So, but I like that you're walking in with like, I'm going to do this, and however the cards lie,
Right.
but we got to share the success.
Yes.
So what else on the doing part, the actual event?
Yeah. So you want to be able to let them ask questions. So, you can do that and make sure you're answering those questions.
And if you're on Zoom, it's just the chat function.
Yeah, it's a chat function.
Okay, so that's good.
Webinar and Zoom, are 2 different things, but my team knows how to do that. Yeah. But yes, the questions are still there. I have my marketing person running it. I'm not the person running it. I'm a panelist, and they run it from behind the scenes. We do this. I'm in my studio. The other person will be,
someone else is on the computer and making sure. And yes, like, thank you, my guys over here. Yes, thank you. Don't let people like us do that stuff.
No.
Yes. And hey, how come the video's not on?
Well, the first one, I apparently did something wrong, and I sent something to her, and she's like, we have no video. We can't, what are we doing? We scrambled on that one, but we learned a few lessons. So
welcome to live shows.
Yes. And, Tom, I think the thing you've always taught me is even if you mess up, it's okay.
Yes.
The goal is the exercise of doing it. You're going to get better each and every time.
Right. So finish the doing part and then let's transition to post. Or is there a CTA? Is there a call to action? Is there an offer that you make during that? And if so, what is it?
So at the end, during is different, but at the end, we're plugging the next webinar. So we already know what it is. We've already set it up. We already know the date.
Good.
And who the guest will be, and we start going down that path.
Nice.
The call to action, it's kind of sprinkled in there is, hey, we're here. We like to contribute. So there's a sprinkling of the referral part, and then there's a sprinkling of, hey, if you're looking for a team and you don't want to join, start your own, and you're looking, come talk to us.
Right.
And that could be if you're sellers or buyers as well.
Love it. And I think for the person listening, if you don't ask, you don't get. Right. There's we've all been on that webinar before where all they do is ask and we're like, but I like in my world, we call it seeding.
Yes.
So I'm going to seed the point that, our team and as we bring on new people, right? Yes. As we attract new sellers, as we help more and more buyers, I'm seeding the conversation.
Sure.
So the person listening is like, oh, okay, so she helps a lot of sellers and buyers. Okay, she helps a lot of agents. Yeah. That kind of stuff versus but wait, there's more if you add now, right?
Yeah,
Which, by the way, don't get me wrong, that also works.
It can be funny.
But if you call the banana line right now. All right. So wrap up anything missing on the doing part. 'Cause I think everybody gets, do it on PowerPoint, make it visual, have it look professional, be well lit, deliver on the promise.
Yes.
And then some kind of, okay, we'll see you on the next show, or a slight CTA. If you need more information, reach out to us.
Yes. That's exactly how it is.
Good.
And then the post, you're going to send out the video, with the audio and the slides that, whatever they want.
Nice.
Again, contribution, we don't care. You want to use it, great.
Yep.
And then, following it up with calls. Those that attended, not only are they going to get an email, but they're going to get a call from us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's so interesting. It sounds so much like an open house.
Yes.
Right? We talked about mega open houses forever. It's, all the pre-marketing to drive traffic to it. It's at the event. What's our intention? What are we trying to accomplish? Circle of house, see all the people, talk to my lender, yada, yada, yada. But all the money is made in
the follow-up.
Hey, Mary, you and your husband came through our open house that went through Open Hannah Street the other day. What'd you guys think about that? And it's the follow-up.
Yes.
So how much do you follow up and then tell us just about results, right? Because you've done one of these now. You've done the recruiting one. You have another one coming up. What kind of results did you get from the recruiting one?
We had great results. We had 6 people raise their hand. 3 are joining our team.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Out of 60.
Yeah. Out of 60 that actually watched it.
Yes.
And there's probably more in there because the follow-up between that one, we're down a person. So we're going to have a new person assigned to that to make sure that those calls got made.
Awesome. All the money, as always, is it's hi, so nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And let's get together sometime and I'd love to do more with you. And then they never follow up. You're like, that person's full of what, right?
Yeah.
Like that was totally inauthentic versus like, okay, great. Hey, I'll give you a call. And then you follow up.
Right. Exactly.
Right? So 3 out of, call it 60 people, and not all of them were in your local market. A lot of those people were, from referral partners across the country.
I'd say they were about half and half, referral partners and local market. And I'm anxious to see what the next one does.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of a geek with numbers, as you know.
Yes.
And so I would go into Eventbrite like several times a day to see how many new people had signed up. Then where they were and made sure that we downloaded them and were they, referral partners or who they were. And even my friends, then the ecosystem that signed up, I'm like, hey, give me the feedback because I want to know the real deal.
Right. So this was a really valuable conversation, Mary. And I know for the person listening right now, first of all, thank you. Right. Thank you for being a thought leader, for testing and trying new things. Yeah. Talking with Maureen, who we've mentioned a couple of times. Right. I asked her recently at a mastermind, I don't forget where we were, or February or March. And she said, I'd heard this idea from Lydia Gable on the show and I'd talked to other people that were doing events and I just never did it. And she finally said, I need to add something new, another pillar. And for her, she wants it. I want more listings. Like that's the thing that makes my business sing.
Sure.
So she's like, I was looking at my demographics. I was looking at my market. I was studying what was going on. And I just found that they were, most of my sellers were going to move and it was, it was a tax issue for them in New York. Like she really thought through and then created a whole event, which is like an hour and lunch at her office.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. And for her, because it was so hyper local, she did it, sort of in person. She did like 2 in January, took February to 2 in March, did like 4 in April. I'm not going to reveal the numbers at the summit. She's going to reveal the entire thing, pre, during, and post.
Yeah.
Which will be worth its weight in gold for everybody there, you included.
Absolutely.
But I want to thank you because you went back and did what's old is new.
Well, I did, but I also was talking with Jamie McMartin. Let me tell you, Jamie, you're amazing.
Yes.
And she was doing it a little bit different twist.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, that's what we did in the pandemic. Right. Why wouldn't we?
Right. All right. If they want to reach out to you, Southwest Florida, all-time best, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
You can connect with me any way you want, but Mary Bartos on every social platform there is.
I actually envisioned throwing a paper airplane to you with my contact
information.
Anyway.
Okay, that'd be good.
I got it. Okay, I'll call you.
You can reach me via email, mary@bartosgroup.com, or my mobile number is 239-588-0230. We look forward to helping you and your customers and you specifically do whatever you want in your business because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Right. Give. Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much for watching. Send this to a friend of yours that does events that could take this to the next level. And as always, leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. If there's a problem you need us to help solve, all you got to do is put it in the comments and we will attack it. We'll see you on the next show.